Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you love captivating stories about men transforming into women in unique and fascinating ways, then be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's jump right into today's tale.
Chapter 10, Morning Revelations. Dawn crept quietly into the apartment, pale and gentle after a night of fevered shadows. Thin ribbons of light filtered through half-drawn curtains, painting stripes across the rumpled sheets. Rhiannon awoke with Marcus's arms around her, their bodies tangled beneath rumpled sheets. Her new form fit against his in ways Ryan's never could have, softer curves nestled against harder planes, her smaller frame enveloped by his. She blinked slowly, savoring the weight of his arm draped across her waist, the warmth of his chest against her back. How different morning feels in this body, she thought, stretching slightly. Where Ryan had always awakened with a jolt, Rhiannon seemed to drift into consciousness, her senses awakening one by one. The city outside was beginning to stir, but in here, time felt suspended, fragile, golden, and impossibly intimate. "You're awake," Marcus murmured, his voice husky with sleep. He shifted slightly, propping himself on one elbow to look down at her. His eyes tracked over her features, as if still trying to reconcile the woman before him with the friend he'd known. "Barely," she replied, turning to face him. "What time is it?" "Early," he said, not bothering to check. "Too early to think about the real world." Marcus watched her quietly, fingers tracing idle patterns on her bare shoulder. "You're different," he murmured, "but you're still you. I see it every time you look at me." "What do you see?" she asked, genuinely curious. "That same spark," he replied, his finger moving to trace the line of her jaw, now softer and more defined than Ryan's had been. "The way your left eyebrow arches when you're thinking something sarcastic, the little half-smile when you're pleased with yourself." His hand moved to her hair, copper strands sliding between his fingers. "But everything else, it's like someone took all your features and refined them, softened them." Rhiannon smiled, her confidence softer in the morning light. "I was so afraid you'd only see the change, but you make me feel safe in my own skin." "This new skin suits you," he said, his palm sliding down her arm. "It's like, I don't know, like you were always meant to inhabit it." "It feels that way sometimes," she admitted. "Like I've upgraded from economy to first class, everything's more comfortable, more responsive." She stretched again, feeling the shift of her breasts, the arch of her spine that came naturally now. "Though there are definitely some adjustment issues, I still bump into things because I misjudge the width of my hips." "Those hips are worth a few bruises," Marcus teased, his hand resting on the curve in question. "Says the man who doesn't have to navigate doorways with them," she retorted, but leaned into his touch. He pressed a kiss to her temple. "I never want you to hide, not from me." "Even when I'm being difficult?" she asked, a hint of Ryan's old self-deprecating humor surfacing. "Especially then," he replied, "though I have a feeling difficult looks very different on you now." "Oh, and what does it look like?" she challenged. "More dangerous," he said with a grin. Ryan brooded. "I suspect Rhiannon might actually do something about it." "You have no idea," she laughed, playfully pushing at his chest. They lay together in silence, a tender hush filled with the promise of something lasting. For the first time, Rhiannon wondered what it would mean to keep both Marcus and Lilith in her life to be wanted, and to want without apology. "What are you thinking about?" Marcus asked, noting her distant expression. "Complicated things," she replied. "Lilith, this arrangement." "Is that what this is, an arrangement?" There was no judgment in his voice, just curiosity. "I don't know what to call it," Rhiannon admitted. "A week ago I was drowning in writer's block and gender certainty. Now I'm in bed with my best friend while a succubus presumably lurks somewhere in my apartment. Arrangement seems as good a word as any." Marcus chuckled, "When you put it that way." A soft knock at the door broke the spell. They both tensed slightly, though Rhiannon recovered more quickly. "Come in," she called, pulling the sheet a bit higher out of instinct, though not bothering to feign embarrassment. Lilith entered, wrapped in a silken robe the color of spilled wine, her eyes glinting with mischief and something deeper. Her hair fell in perfect disarray around her shoulders, as if she'd just risen from her own night of passion. She regarded the scene with a feline smile. "Well, the morning after. Should I be jealous or proud?" Rhiannon flushed but sat up unabashed. Maybe both. I'd say proud, Marcus offered, his initial discomfort giving way to a surprising boldness. Though I'm still not entirely sure what your stake in all this is. My stake, Lilith's smile widened as she moved further into the room, her movements liquid and predatory. What a delightfully possessive way of phrasing it. Marcus met Lilith's gaze, wary but no longer hostile. Did you know this would happen? That you'd end up in her bed, Lilith clarified, one perfect eyebrow arching, or that you'd enjoy it quite so, thoroughly. Marcus flushed slightly but held her gaze. Both, I suppose. Lilith shrugged, gliding closer. I knew desire would find its way. It always does if you let it, but I must admit, her eyes lingered on both of them, hungry and amused. You two are more combustible than I expected. We have history, Rhiannon explained, though Lilith hardly needed the clarification. The best kindling for new fires, Lilith observed. Familiarity mixed with fresh discovery, it's an intoxicating combination. She perched at the foot of the bed, crossing her long legs. The movement caused her robe to part slightly, revealing a tantalizing glimpse of thigh. So, tell me, Marcus, was it everything you imagined, or did our Rhiannon surprise you? Marcus coughed, trying for dignity. Let's just say I'm still adjusting to the new reality. Translation, I rocked his world, Rhiannon stage whispered to Lilith with a mischievous grin. I don't doubt it, Lilith replied, her gaze appreciative. You're a remarkably quick study. Some aspects of femininity take years to master, but you've taken to pleasure like a fish to water. I had an excellent teacher, Rhiannon replied, her eyes meeting Lilith's with open acknowledgement of their shared experiences. Lilith's laughter was low and wicked. Good, a little discomfort means you're growing. She reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind Rhiannon's ear. And you, darling, how do you feel? Rhiannon hesitated, but her answer was honest. Full, alive, like I can finally breathe. I felt like I was suffocating before, she continued, trying to articulate the difference. Like everything was constricted, my creativity, my emotions, my body. Now it's like someone opened all the windows and doors. That's what happens when you shed a skin that doesn't fit, Lilith observed. It wasn't just the body, though, Marcus interjected, surprising both women. Ryan was contained, controlled, even before this. He gestured vaguely at Rhiannon's transformed form. Perceptive, Lilith acknowledged with an approving nod. The physical change merely externalized what was already happening within. Lilith's expression softened. That's the real magic, not the spell or the transformation, but the freedom to be who you are and to take what you want. Is that what you gave me? Rhiannon asked. Freedom. I gave you a door, Lilith corrected. You chose to walk through it. She glanced between them, a different glint in her eyes now. The bargain was for a week of passion and inspiration, but you found something rarer, connection. If you want more, you only have to ask. More time? Rhiannon asked, her heart suddenly racing. Beyond the week. More, everything, Lilith replied enigmatically. Time, experiences, possibilities. Marcus reached for Rhiannon's hand, squeezing it. He looked at Lilith, curiosity flickering in his gaze. And what about you? Aren't you jealous? Of what? Lilith asked, genuinely amused. That she's found pleasure with you, that she's exploring all the delicious potential of her new form. Most relationships don't handle third parties very well, Marcus pointed out carefully. Lilith's smile was enigmatic. Desire doesn't divide, Marcus. It multiplies. I'm no stranger to sharing or to being wanted. The question is, are you too brave enough to want more? More meaning, Marcus trailed off, though his quickened breathing suggested he understood perfectly well. She leaned in, her voice dropping to a purr. Tonight, when the city grows hungry again, why not see what else you might discover, the three of us? No boundaries, no secrets, just pleasure, honesty, and whatever comes next. I'm not sure Marcus began, then glanced at Rhiannon, whose expression was one of intrigued consideration rather than shock. Not sure you're ready, Lilith suggested, or not sure you haven't already imagined it. Marcus's flush deepened, confirming her suspicion. Don't worry, Lilith continued, her tone gentler but no less seductive. I don't bite, unless explicitly requested to do so. That's not entirely reassuring, Marcus managed, though a smile tugged at his lips. A spark leapt between them, dangerous and inviting. Marcus looked at Rhiannon, his breath quickening. She met his gaze, her heart pounding, not with fear now, but with anticipation. "We could at least think about it," Rhiannon suggested, her voice husky. "No promises either way." "Thinking is a good start," Lilith agreed, "though I suspect your bodies already know the answer your minds are still debating." Lilith rose, sashaying toward the door, her robe trailing behind her like spilled velvet. "Think about it, darlings. Some stories get better the deeper you go." As the door closed, Rhiannon and Marcus stared at each other, caught between the comfort of what they knew and the wild, thrilling promise of what was still to be written. "Did that just happen?" Marcus asked after a moment of stunned silence. "Welcome to my life this past week," Rhiannon replied with a small laugh. "Every day brings a new did that just happen moment." "And what do you think?" he asked carefully, about her suggestion. Rhiannon's newly sensitive skin flushed with warmth at the thought. I think we have all day to decide, and that thinking might be better done after coffee." "Coffee," Marcus agreed with evident relief. "Coffee is good, coffee is normal." "I hate to break it to you," Rhiannon said, sliding out of bed and reaching for a silk robe that Lilith had left for her days earlier. "But normal left the building about a week ago. We're in uncharted territory now." "Then I guess we'd better start exploring," Marcus replied, watching her move with undisguised appreciation. Rhiannon smiled over her shoulder, a new confidence in her posture that Ryan had never possessed. "That's exactly what I was thinking."